Hello, welcome to STEM School. In this lesson, let's learn about dividing a decimal by a whole number. Let's take a look at our first example here. We have 3.78 divided by 5. So let's calculate. So we have here 3.78 and divide by 5. Okay, so first, how many 5 are there in 3? None of it, right? So we have 0, and we don't forget our decimal here because we got our decimal here, right? So, and next is how many 5s are there in 37, right? So we've got 7 5s. So we got 7, so 5 times 7 equals to 35, right? So we got 35 here. And once we do the subtraction, we just need to ignore the decimal here. So 37 minus 35 equals to 2, right? So we have 28 here. Okay, so and now how many 5s are there in 28? So we have 5. Okay, so and 5 times 5 equals to 25, right? So let's do the subtraction here, and we have 3, right? And then we just need to continue, so we are adding 0 there. So we got 30, and how many 5s are there in 30? So we got 6, right? So 5 times 6 equals to 30, and once we do the subtraction, we'll have 0. All right, so that's why we got the result 0.756. Okay, so 0.756, that's the result. Again, once we do a division, we first find how many 5s are there in our first digit, which is 0, and we just write the decimals wherever it belongs. Okay, so and after that we just move in the numbers, right? So we got same as what we done for other divisions. Okay, so we don't have anything here, so that's why we got 37, right? So and then we calculate this, right? So and then we got the result from the subtraction and moving one number down. So because we are calculating the decimals, right? So once we run out of numbers here, we are just going to keep adding 0 at the end, okay, in order to calculate. So if we don't have 30 here, if we have something else and we have other than 0, we are just going to adding additional 0 there and continue to calculate, right, until we want to stop, or until we've got 0 as remainder. Okay, so now let's take a look at our second example. So this time we have 12.52 or 12.52 divided by 16. Okay, so we do the same calculation. So we have here 12.52 there, and we got 16 here. So the first thing is again same. So how many 16s in 1? Nothing, right? So how many 16s in 2? And in 12, also 0, right? So that's why we will have 0 point here. It's because I'm not going to write 0 only because we got the decimal here, right? So we have to write a 0 there. Otherwise, we can just continue to adding the other digits. Okay, now this time we have 125. Again, let's ignore the decimal there. So we got 125. So how many 16s are there in 125? We have 7. Okay, so once we calculate 16 times 7, and we have that 112, right? So I'm adding the decimal is because so that we can kind of calculate. So you're gonna realize that there is the decimal there, and we're gonna do the subtraction between these two numbers, right? So otherwise you can always ignore the decimal here Ignore the decimal here while doing the division calculation, okay? So again, now we have what? 2 minus 1 equals 1, 5 minus 2 equals 3, right? So we have 132. So again, we can ignore this, okay? So we got 132. So how many 16s are there in 132? We have 8, and do the calculations. We got what? We got 128, right? So let's ignore this. So we have 128. So 132 minus 128, we will have what? We will have 4, right? So, and let's add in 0 because we don't have any digits there left. So we are just going to add 0. And how many 16s are there in 40? We have 2 and 32, okay? So 40 minus 32, we will have what? 8. And we're going to keep adding 0, right? So because we don't have 0 here, so that's we're going to keep adding 0 to calculate further. Okay, so how many 16s are there in 80? We'll have 5, and 16 times 5 equals to 80, right? So now we know that 80 minus 80 equals 0. That's why it's the end of the calculation. And here's the result we have. So we have 0.7825. Okay. So basically, it's a bit more complicated than the previous one, but we are following the same method, right? So we just need to find how many 16s are there in the numbers, and we're going to calculate the remainder. Okay, so if it's not 0, we are just going to keep adding 0 and continue the calculation to find the next digit, right? And when we find here, adding 0 again, so again and again until we find the remainder equals to 0, or until we want to stop the calculation. Okay, so that's. And the final result we've got is 12.52 divided by 16 equals to 0.7825. That's everything for today's lesson. Please click like if you like this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.